Good evening, everybody. So excited to have another Guidely event here and have our dear friend Kyle Cease with us. Hello to our guides. I see quite a few of you here. And hello, community members. We just turned our community into a full, completely free. And really excited about this and see how people will take advantage of it and really enjoy all the resources we have. So this is our last event for this year. And it feels very ceremonial and I met Kyle, I don't know, 6 months ago. In a very, ran into each other and really introduced myself, and he said yes. And I'm so grateful to share this with our audience, because I think that's part of how life works. So Kyle sees, I want to, I still see people in the waiting room, so I want to make sure that we let them in. If you don't mind, everybody drop in the chat, where are you from? And also, what is calling you tonight? Use one word, like if there is a word for you that you can share, that calls you, that you feel you want to work on, or that you feel is present in your life, that we can then maybe play with. So I want to introduce our guest tonight, Kyle Cease. I've seen Kyle, I think, I don't know, quite a few years ago when he was on a TV screen listening to comedy. I was crying, tears of laughter, and really enjoyed it. And then I've seen you grow and evolve into a spiritual teacher and thought leader and educator and contributor, and really inspiring. I know you have a New York Times bestseller. I know you've coached 15,000 people. That is an incredible amount. Have a community of 400,000 members. That is unbelievable. 60 million views of your YouTube content.
I feel weird answering each one. Like, yeah, I did that.
Yeah, it's so. I'm not going to tell anybody here. This is between us. But my background, my education, I'm a CPA. What's also called the bean counters, right? So when I look at those numbers, it's just staggering. We all work here on Guidely, feeling that we're on a mission, and then I look up to you and I say, "Oh my God, talk about impact!" Being over 100 TV and movie appearances, including Jimmy Kimmel Live and the Late Night Show. And you're parenting now too, right?
Yeah, I have a 5-year-old girl.
That is just incredible. What an impact. So first of all, thanks for all the work you're doing. Oh my God.
Can you see it there?
I did see her live, and I did see how vital and bubbly and beautiful she is. So congratulations, first of all, and thank you for all that you're doing.
Thank you so much.
I'm really honored, because it's, we get to talk to a lot of people who are in our space of trying to bring good to life, and everyone does it in a different way, and you've taken somewhat of a different journey. First of all, I want to, if you're willing to share, what moved you to start that personal development journey?
Well, thank you for having me. Welcome, everybody.
Thank you for moving the mic. Now we hear you.
Sure, I forgot that it was over there. I was having so much fun looking at who's coming in, because we have my membership site, the Absolutely Everything Pass, and I usually see them in the chat, and I'm seeing familiar names that I know from the chat, but I'm seeing their faces now. So it's kind of fun for me to be like, I'm putting faces to names that I've been talking to on my membership site for some of them years. And it's so fun to just connect. So I forgot the mics over there, and I forgot how to do everything, because I'm like, oh, that's that person. And it's so nice to see them. My shift in my life, there's been many, But the first thing is, I started out doing stand-up comedy when I was 12 years old. And I was a performer and a working comic at 15, 16 years old. 18 years old, I was a headlining comic, and I booked several movies. I did a movie called 10 Things I Hate About You. Some of you might know. I did another movie called Not Another Teen Movie. I had a very big Comedy Central career. I headlined two number one Comedy Central specials and toured as a comedian. And one of the things that started occurring to me throughout time as a comedian is one of the biggest beliefs I had is when something happens, I'll be happy. And I know everyone here, even right now, probably have that feeling that when something happens, I will be happy. When I get out of this relationship, when I move, when I get the more money, when I get the, over an addiction, whatever. And it always puts you in a frequency of later is better. And we live there. And the huge shift happened in my life, in a very abbreviated version, was life put me in a position where I had to shift from when something happens, I'll be happy, to when I'm happy, things will happen. And by happy, I don't mean big smile on my face. I mean, I'm okay with all of my emotions, that I'm present with, and I'm okay with sadness, that I'm okay with anger, whatever, and that I'm this space for those things. And the ironic twist is that caused me to lose my addiction to needing to get results and needing to be somewhere else, needing to, if only I got on Jay Leno's show, if only I got this, if I had this next movie. And it put me in a position of like seeing that's a lie, because the amount of times that I thought when something happens, I'll be happy, and then got the thing and noticed I was not only not happy, I was less happy and more addicted. If only you get this one movie, and then you get it and you're like, my part better stay in, and oh, I better get another one. And you start getting more and more codependent on these things that you create in the illusion in yourself that these things are what make you happy, which implies you're not enough as is, which implies you're not happiness, that everything outside of you is the only place that you get happy. And every time you come up with the idea that something outside of you will make you happy, you're actually creating. So the default setting is, I'm not enough in myself. Like literally my desire for something outside of me can actually create, because I'm unlovable, because I'm unworthy, because I'm not enough. And so I shifted, and I had this major shift in my life where I had a very successful stand-up career. And at the height of my career, through many different reasons, felt this calling to leave it. And it was really surreal, because I was doing big theaters, I was doing all these things, and something in me felt that it ran its course. And I had this new me start to show up and say, I don't even believe in motivation anymore, because, and I'm going to explain why, and you'll like this, but it's more about letting go of the things in your life that don't align with you. And then your vibration goes up, and then crazy things start to just match that. So the first way I did it was, I said, I'm going to go 90 days. And this is not an ad for raw veganism, but I wanted to know what would happen if I went 90 days raw vegan. And I announced to my audience, I'm going to eat only raw vegan food for 90 days. If I eat anything cooked or an animal product, I'll give away $10,000. This put me on the island and burnt the boats of doing this thing. And this was, I thought, going to be about my health, but it became this bizarre world of synchronicities, crazy abundance, so much freedom. What happened was, I get 30 days in eating raw vegan. Someone walks by me with a hot dog, and all I smelled was chemicals and metal. And I started realizing 30 days ago, that hot dog would have been tempting. And now my taste buds have changed. I actually am experiencing a different feeling about it. And now food in a cooked kind of whatever way is this thing that's not part of me anymore. It's not in my alignment. And so I started thinking, what else could do this? So I started asking myself, what else feels heavy? In other words, I felt like I was ascending vibrationally, and I could call out what in my life felt heavy. So I was like, social media, at the time it was Facebook. I was like, Facebook feels heavy. What if I don't date for a while? What if I don't date anybody? What if I just, these things that you think you have to fit into this thing, what if I don't have that? So I started moving more and more up vibrationally, and I learned this thing from doing this. When something happens, I'll be happy. I already said that part. But when you let go of something, you can only measure what you will lose. You can't see what you'll gain. So when you're letting go of something, the only reason you're sad is because you're letting go of something that you can physically see, but you don't understand what you're making room for. So I started getting excited about asking myself, if anything in my life is not a 10, can I let go of it? If it's not a 10, I mean, like meditation's a 10. Flipping through social media all day is not a 10, right? Just watching Netflix is not a 10. But there's things that are calling to us that
Right.
expand us, right? So I'm sitting here letting go of things, and things are getting more and more synchronistic and miraculous as I'm now not attached to those things. I'm now someone who doesn't go on Facebook anymore. That was weird to me. I'm now someone who's changed the way I eat. I'm now someone who, it's just crazy, like used to please date me and be this codependent, and then I don't need that anymore. And all of the patterns from my childhood that wanted those things started falling off too.
Hmm.
And then on day 45, I was about to go tour, and I just heard myself go, I don't want to. I don't want to go do a week at a comedy club. And this was a big moment because 6 months ago, that was my dream. And all of a sudden, I've now ascended to a place where my dream career is now this heavy thing. And I heard myself say, it's not a 10. And if I let go of it, the only reason I'm stressed is because I can measure what I lose. I can't see what I'll gain. So I called the comedy club and my agent and told them I'm not going to go do the comedy club this week. And I don't know why. This is where it's miraculous and faith-based. I don't know why. It's literally based on a feeling. I don't have evidence of what's on the other side. In fact, I see nothing on the other side. I'm just moving based on a feeling. The next week I was due to do another comedy club, and I would spend a week in a comedy club. And I called them and canceled too. This was really weird because all the yeah buts were there. Yeah, but you got to make money. Yeah, but this is your dream. Yeah, but you're supposed to. Yeah, but your agent will get upset. Yeah, but all of that. And I know you can hear all those yeah buts in you with everything. Yeah, but my mom won't approve. Yeah, but my spouse won't approve. Yeah, but I got to make money with the job that I don't like, so I need to stay there, right? So the next week I was going to do a comedy club and I canceled it, and I'm home. And I'm just hearing what's inside, because now I'm a dude that's moving beyond my dream career. And all these patterns are coming up, but I can hear them really clearly because I'm so present. And I hear this voice go, what if you combine comedy and transformation? Because you're going through a transformation and you seem to have a lot to say about it. And I hear this egoic part of me go, yeah, but no one's ever done it. Like the way you want to do it, no one's ever done it. And I heard this higher me go, no one's ever done it. Like it's your own field. Like it would be crazy. Like the reason you think you can't do something is really the reason you have to. I want to go on that trip, but I have kids. Go live in your heart to show your kids to live in their heart. Right? I want to write that book, but I'm not making money because you're not writing the book. Right? I want to do this, but people might judge me. Right? You need to do this to transcend your fear of them judging you. You feeling what I'm saying? Like that's what every reason we come up for why we can't is actually the reason that we have to. So I just hear this voice in me go, combine comedy and transformation. And I had a friend that was a cameraman who I said, would you come here? And he was very spiritual too. And I said, I got a really weird idea. Would you come over here and just film me making a video for every person ever that booked me for a college as a comedian by name? And I want to make a video for them by name, right? So I made 500 videos that week.
Wow.
Like, hey, this is a video for Diane Johnson at North Idaho University. This is Kyle Cease, and I want to come do the lecture circuit at your school. And we made 500 videos and we sent it out to all the schools. And I had all my friends saying, I can't believe you're not doing a comedy club. You could be making like $5,000 doing a week at a comedy club. Well, 100 of the colleges said yes to me doing their schools at 10,000 a pop. And that week that I let go of the comedy club, I suddenly made $1 million. because I followed the feeling of I can't see what I'm gaining. I'm just making room for my vibration and my heart to open so that I move to this higher frequency. And I started just following this thing that instead of getting motivated, I just need to let go of the things that are not tens in my life. Because why am I holding on to them? If they are not soul expanding things, why are we holding on to a relationship that's not a 10? Why are we holding on to a job that's not a 10? Why do we hold on to these things? It's out of some yeah, but reason that is basically in the way of meeting God or meeting the universe or meeting your soul. And you're missing out on what's on the other side. And so I had this huge agency, this very big agency that started taking 10% of these gigs, but they weren't aligned. They didn't even want me to, they wanted me to stay a stand-up comic. They didn't even want me to do this. And I noticed I was just giving them 10% of these gigs, but they had nothing to do with me booking them myself. And even though they were a household name agency, they were starting to feel out of alignment. And I could justify keeping them because they were getting me auditions for movies. So my yeah, but is, well, I won't be able to audition for movies if I let go of them. So instead, I ask my heart what to do, and my heart versus all of circumstances and all of everyone's advice externally, my heart said, do it. And my grandma, who's very spiritual, I asked her what to do. And she said, baby, leap, just trust this and go. So I let go of this agency. I called them and I said, I'm going to let go of you. And they were so shocked. They're like, no one fires us. Like, we handle Tom Hanks. And and I was like, I know it doesn't make sense. It's a weird spiritual thing. I gotta go. Right. And I gotta drop you. And so I let go of them. And then now I'm a guy that doesn't even need that agency. Right. I'm really getting connected to the true essence of what I am. And my thing about justifying is so big because if you're justifying why you're keeping something, that's a reason that you can know that it's not a 10. Like, I have a 5-year-old daughter, but I've never said, well, she gets good medical, so I'll keep being her father. Right. I don't need to justify why I do this for a living, but we all know what it's like to be like, I hate the job, but they're going to give me a raise later. Or that person's a bad friend, but we did have that nice dinner once. Do you get what I'm saying? Whenever you bring in that second thing, that's your mind explaining why you're ignoring your heart. That's your mind making sense out of why you're ignoring your soul and your calling. Right. And so I'm really big on, if I'm justifying why I should keep something, I have to let go of it. So it was weird to say about one of the biggest agencies in the world, I'm going to let go of them based on a feeling, but my justification is they get me auditions for movies. Then right after I drop them, I get a call that Jim Carrey and Eckhart Tolle together have combined forces and did an event called GATE. They're doing an event called GATE. It stands for Global Alliance of Transformational Entertainers. And they asked me to come speak at it. So right after I dropped this agency, I'm suddenly asked to speak at an event with Jim Carrey and Eckhart Tolle. And I find out that a ton of the people in the audience are movie producers that are just going to be in the audience. Right. So here I am hoping I can get auditions for movies. And now all of a sudden, just the directors and producers are in the audience. Right. So I go and I do this talk, and I'm now a guy who's gotten really healthy. I'm off Facebook. I'm not addicted or codependent on relationships or anything. I'm in the highest me. I'm in the pocket. I feel so good. I've now let go of this huge agency. And so because of that, when I walked into the room and I'm backstage with these people, I don't feel like I'm less worthy than, or I'm so lucky to, I'm the same. That's all, egoic constructs that say you're bigger or less than based on your status of fame or whatever. I'm just now, and we're here to find the true essence of what we are. That's why we're here. We're here to evolve into the true essence of what we are. If you want to get into a relationship, that's fine. But the first thing is, will I evolve with this relationship, or will I contract? If you want to get a job, that's fine. The number one thing is, am I evolving? That's how I see it. So I'm put on the stage with Jim Carrey and Eckhart Tolle in the 4th row of the audience. And I walk out and I'm just feeling in the pocket, and I just ad-lib this comedic spiritual set where I say, this is so weird because I'm told all the time that I'm what would happen if Jim Carrey and Eckhart Tolle had a baby. And I see everyone laugh and I go, I don't know if you guys are picturing that. Eckhart, I know you're not because it's a thought and I know you don't have those. And I said, and then I said, some of you guys might think that joke's offensive, but it's in the past. So Eckhart doesn't even know about it. And the place went crazy. Like this spiritual Apollo started happening. And all of a sudden I walk off stage and all these people are starting to offer me roles in movies and TV. And all these things that I thought I needed an agent to get suddenly came to me when I let go of the agent. So I started seeing that when you let go of something, you can measure what you lose. You can't see what you'll gain. And our fear is that we're just staring at this one thing, right? And when you stop doing that and you start to follow the feeling, I believe we have these two feelings all the time. There's this first feeling that kind of asks this open-ended, awesome question that says something like, what if I started that band? What if I left this company? What if we just moved to Italy right now? What if I wrote the book? What if I just let go of this? These open-ended calling questions that feel good. You can't see any reason why you should do it because you've never done it, right? You need to follow the feeling, not the evidence, because that's actual faith. Moving based on true feeling versus I need to see what I'll get if I do it. That's the opposite of faith. And a lot of those people still say the word faith, but it's not faith. You're moving based on evidence, right? What will I get if I leave? They stay in a relationship till they see the evidence of the next one and then they can go, right? You're not following the feeling, you're following the seeing. So you're actually not going to expand then, right? Because you're going to stay the same frequency as you move to the same thing. But we have this first voice that goes, what if I leave this company? And then if you follow that feeling, this second voice comes up, this egoic voice, right? The egoic voice comes up with why you shouldn't, because if you follow this higher, your ego is about to die, right? So it's got to save its life. So it comes up with a really stupid reason why you shouldn't follow this feeling. So the first voice will say something like, what if we leave this company? And then the second voice goes, yeah, but if we do, we can't go to the Cheesecake Factory party next Thursday. And it's stupid. It's a stupid reason, right? And the first voice needs you to listen to it based on feeling, not mental understanding. But it goes, if you would learn to listen to me, you'll own all the Cheesecake Factories in a month, and you could make them all vegan if you wanted, or make them not, whatever. And the second voice is like, yeah, but they have those Thai lettuce wraps, and I really want that. If you've ever stayed in a relationship with someone that you don't want to be with because you know that eventually the two of you were going to go camping, you know what I'm talking about. Right? You'll be like, I want to break up with this person, but we already bought the tent. So I guess I'll hate him for another month and then I'll hate him in the woods. Right? So I really believe in this thing that we all talk about and we speak about and we go to spiritual communities about and we read books about, but very few people live it, and every one of us has the opportunity to live it. And you won't believe when you let go of something that doesn't align and you do it based on feeling, even though you can completely see all of this evidence that you're letting go of all these things. But if your soul is going, no, I don't know what's next. I don't know what's on the other side, but I still know it's right. You feel that? Like you will be blindsided by how spiritually connected, synchronistic, weird, like miraculous life is. And that was 11 years ago. And I've been living this every day, all the time. And, you know, I live that. And then I also live this now. I also believe more. I would follow higher vibration, but now the highest vibration to me in the last 2 years, the last 2 years of all the stuff going on with the pandemic and everything, have moved me from a place of high to a place of here. Like the highest vibration I know is the now, right? So when you hear all of the vibration stuff about high vibration and low vibration, the highest I know now for me is the now. And the now holds space for both the high and the low. And our idea of high and the low is subjective. For instance, all political sides think the other side is low vibration and that they're high vibration, right? So we're all kind of wrong about what's high and low, and it's subjective to where we are. Most things that we call low are actually triggering stuff in our body that we don't want to see. And the big shift for me in the last 2 years, I believe, the way that I look at 2020 and 2021 is that up until 2020, We were all very comfortable with our circumstances, so much that we didn't have to look within. We had a decent enough job. We had the ability to escape with restaurants or traveling or whatever. 2020 shows up and it goes, I need to bring all the false stories in your body out of your body. I'm going to bring all the things that you think of as darkness out of your body. And you might notice in the last couple of years, you've lost a lot of vices. People have lost connections to family members. There's a lot more breakups. There's all these things falling apart. And then what are you left with in that? You're left with the real aspects of you. Inside is actually you. And we realize that the things that we're losing were actually vices in some ways that were keeping us from the true aspect of what we are. And so when you go, I don't talk to my family member anymore, that's okay. You're not supposed to. Maybe you're more than the family dynamic. And maybe right now, maybe you'll see them again one day, but right now, the universe is trying to pull your trauma out of you. That's why you notice how much you're going within, how much there's darkness showing up inside of us. We're being forced to forgive. We're being forced to let go, not only inside, but in the whole world. There's darkness showing up all over the place. We're learning stuff about our government, about our media. It totally hurts, Katie Kiss. I hear you. It does still hurt, but it's still the truth. And us getting more and more present allows our darkness to come to light and be alchemized. It will be alchemized through you seeing it. It will be alchemized through you hearing it and investigating it. And in the last 2 years, I did between 1,500 and 2,000 one-on-ones. And what we've always gotten to is someone's in a situation they're triggered about, but the trigger is never about the situation. It's trying to show them something under it. This person that abandoned me feels like my dad abandoning me, right? And the more we get present for it, we start to realize and we investigate, there's this pattern inside of all of us that was conditioned into us that is not us, that says you're unworthy or you're a failure. And to a lot of our patterns, it's life and death to be those things. So what I have the people do is I have them say to the pattern, you're allowed to be unworthy in my body. They've never heard that. You're allowed to be a failure in my body. You're allowed to do it wrong in my body. This is you declaring that you love all of you, even if you are whatever your parents shamed you into believing you are. You're allowed to feel abandoned in my body. You're allowed to feel unloved in my body. This has been a slew of watching people release this pattern that has never known it was allowed to be, yes, Katie Kiss, exactly. You're allowed to wet my bed in my body, right? Because the pattern says I can't, right? So that's what's trying to happen. Those patterns are trying to come to light now. And it needs us to go from that achiever point to the now point. And the byproduct is achievements will chase you. Right? Do you notice, all of you, I'm sure you've noticed, has anyone here noticed in the last couple of years, this bizarre feeling of trying to start a project and getting a couple days in and it not like being like, I'm going to write a book or whatever. I'm going to start my business. And you get 2 days in and it doesn't work, right? That's because it's your egoic pattern that's trying to do it because then you'll be something, which has the underlying belief that you're not. So you're egoically trying to make things happen. That worked in the 90s. That worked in the past when we had less consciousness. But now you start to realize that a trauma pattern that you're trying to avoid is what's trying to create this business or this job or this next thing. And so a lot of people are finding themselves starting projects and thinking that's the answer to their life and getting a day in and being like, never mind. That's because it's going, I want you to know you're enough now, not based on what you do. You're not just love based on what you create or achieve. You are love. And the constant belief that I am loved based on what I create or do implies you're not enough. You have to have a constant not enough thing going, right? Now, the byproduct is once you finally get your enough period, there's no such thing as not enough. You will be blown away by what is created through you and what the universe is trying to create through you. And you stop needing to achieve everything and you move into a surrender, and those dark things that are coming up are being pulled out of you. And on the other side of that is the universe trying to create through you. So the first level is the life you don't want. then through all of our achievement seminars, you get the life you do want, right? That's making it happen and building the business and everything. But 2020 opened up a third level that's going to purge these two, the life the universe or God wants for you. And that's where you start to listen minute to minute and stop needing to be the one that egoically makes it happen. And I'm telling you, it's very abundant. It'll still give you next steps, but it's one step at a time. And sometimes it'll be like, I need you to purge that addiction. I need you to let go of that unworthiness. I need you to feel through your trauma. I need you to be present. But I need you to connect with me now. So we're, in my eyes, we're being forced to move to the third one. And if people don't know that's what's happening, this is total hell. If you don't have an awareness of what's happening, you just think everything's wrong with you, but it's just your pattern being purged. You've just falsely identified what you call you, right? This thing, I'm a procrastinator. No, the pattern is it was put there to protect yourself in your childhood from parents with egos, right? I'm a worrier. No. You're not. Stop saying I am. There's a pattern that has existed that worries out of protection because you don't want your parents to divorce again, like in 1964. Right? You feeling that? So those patterns are trying to dissolve. And so it's bringing them up. So it's dark, but we're in a time where it's, if you're present, this is going to be the most magical life ever. And you stop being addicted to the circumstances and you just trust, and everything changes. So that's the answer to your first question, Amir.
So it's it's profound. We had Gabby Bernstein here last month, and she introduced and presented her new, well, she subscribed to internal family systems. I don't know if you're familiar with Dr. Dick Schwartz's work, but it's all about parts work. And what you're talking about is literally that. You call them names and you say it's just a part of who you are. It's not, don't try and make all of you that part. And I'm not going to get into IFS, but it's really profound. I think you're touching on that same topic, and I think it's so true, and I find it very, very relevant in my life, being able to identify what part in me is really the one who, wants to see this, or wants to be that, or wants to satisfy. And the other thing that, you talked about that it took me to one of my favorite speakers is Abraham Hicks. And Abraham talks a lot about satisfaction, and the ability to be in energy of being satisfied with what is, being satisfied. And that really brings more, to attracts more of that satisfaction. So I'm curious. I want to ask you a second question. We'll see how many questions I get to ask. I love your answer.
Well, and I'll add one thing on that. I by the way, I love Abraham Hicks. I've performed with her before. I followed her and I channeled Abraham Lincoln, which was very fun. But that really did happen. Michael Beckwith did an event called Revelations, and I channeled Abraham Lincoln, and he fell out of his chair, and I'm very proud of that. But what I was going to say is the content of Abraham Hicks is so phenomenal, and it also served a purpose major for when it came out, and was so important as a step. What I want to bring, instead of getting into the vortex, I'm offering that you are the vortex, that it's not something you get in, and that you are the vortex for all of the highs and lows. So imagine that in the old, like, my content matched that same vibration of Abraham Hicks in the past, where it was like, okay, we're going to get in the higher vibration and everything. The last 2 years has really caused me to realize I am the vortex. I am the now. I am enough. And this now is so much bigger to me than that higher low vibrational energy. And that you are the alchemist of these things. And sometimes we're trying to get to high out of the avoidance of our darkness, right? I'm just going to keep getting higher so I don't have to face that I'm unworthy. Right. And I love going right into that unworthy. And like, that is just as valuable and important as, you just getting into a good mood.
Right.
I almost think of the high and low thing as like Las Vegas, right? Like okay,
The
I'm
bids.
doing low, I'm losing at gambling, so I'm going to start practicing winning, and my job is to win, and my goal is to leave Las Vegas. Right? My goal is to get that there's more than high and low, that it all exists with everything, right? So I love Abraham Hicks too. It's just kind of a new spin on it, that you are the vortex, and when you really hear from the now, it will alchemize everything that you were running from when you were trying to get into the vortex in the first place.
That's profound. I wonder. So I want to ask you two questions. One, did anybody inspire you or lead you, or how did you get to the insights to the next step? Did you have a teacher? Was it just internal voice, the body that you listened to? What worked for you? And the second is really, um, how do you stay tuned in? Because it's like every second, it's got to be, you want to be, you are the vortex 24/7, right? So you want to be, pay attention to when, especially when you still carry some old habits, like myself, you want to be conscious of that. So do you have like a routine, a daily routine or whatever? How do you make sure that you're still on that
Yeah. Well,
high flying disc, what she calls, or you call it the now?
well, one of the I'm being flattered by the chat right now. It's making me feel like I'm cute. One of the things that I would say is that I think it was 2015 or 2016, maybe, that I started doing a 2-hour meditation a day for 100 days. So I would just listen to silence for 100 days of 2 hours a day. And I just watched as patterns turned out to be not true. I just watched as, there would, like, it was so funny. People would say to me, I don't get how you have time to do that. And then I noticed, I would say, I don't know how you have time to not, because to give you an example, I would be like, oh God, I have a busy day. I'm going to call this person. I got to deal with this. I got to call this person. And then I would meditate 2 hours a day, and I'd be like, I totally don't have to call any of those people. Because a lot of the people I was going to call were people like to fix some egoic construct or whatever, and not just let the universe deal with whatever. And then I would get higher level ideas, $1 million ideas, higher, I literally, the book would just write itself and be a New York Times bestseller. Like, all these things came through. So there's two parts. One is just the meditation is really big. And by my meditation, it's literally just listening. Like, a lot of people think you got to do something with your armpits and do this with your hands and change your name to Rainbow Maca Sunshine. And how many beads do you have? And do you have a man bun? And you can have a man bun, but it's not required for meditation. You can do this man bunless. And that's one thing I've loved about meditation. So Amir, you and I are in the clear.
Yeah.
But like, so when I listen, I just listen. It's literally nothing else. For 2 hours, I'm just sitting and listening. And you'll hear the voices show up. The first voice will be like, 2 hours. How are we gonna? And then you'll go, who's that talking? Because I'm sitting here watching it. And then another voice is like, we can't do this. This is crazy. And this is ridiculous. And but you notice that if you don't cater to that, it passes. See, if a voice says we can't meditate, and then I get up and go, you're right, then the limitation voice wins. It literally runs my day. But if a voice goes, we can't meditate, and I just keep listening, it passes like a cloud, and all of a sudden I'm the space. You start to bring in so much more abundance in your life. You start to not take on things that don't align. You get so connected to yourself. You avoid so many things that you don't know you avoid, like probably accidents because your focus is better, and anxiety and just taking a job you don't like and things that don't align. And once you get to, I have a thing I call breakup single soulmate. The first half hour is the breakup. Every time you meditate, what you were yesterday has to fall off. So it's painful, right? So you're breaking up with what you were yesterday. So you're meditating, and it's a half an hour of just like this mask you wore yesterday or built falling off. 30 to 45 minutes in, you're single. So you're like clubbing, and you're doing all this, like, you're just free. And then 45 minutes, I find, to an hour, usually it's at 46 minutes, some actual connection, some soulmate, higher level ideas, massive abundance, crazy health, the knowing that worthiness isn't even a question, all start to become the truth, right? And so you just start to be connected to the soulmate and becoming this expansive being. So when I did 100 days in a row, once I got to like 70 and 80, everything was just so, there was no effort at all. And the business went through the roof, and just, so many things happened that were so incredible. And everything just started answering itself with no effort. I mean, it was just if there was effort, I knew it was a lie. If there was any force, if there was any, I have to make it happen, it was impossible for it to happen, because it's not trusting, it's not source. Right. So so that's one thing. But the other thing was the meditation really helped me know how to follow life, so that every second I'm asking myself, does this align with me too? So the spiritual change for me starts to be like, I'm literally in a place where, I feel off with this, I need to let go of it, or I need to be present for why I feel off, because I can tell it's bringing up something from my childhood, right? And so like the way I live is bringing in synchronistic answers too, where I can tell, is this a pattern that's trying to be seen by mom, right? Is this me? I've had to let go of a lot of relationships in the idea of like, I want to be seen, and the belief in that was that I need someone else to see me to be seen. And so I still will want that in a match for me, that they understand me and see me and care. But at the same time, me seeing myself is actually the highest truth. And empaths have created this belief that they're only heard when someone else hears it. And usually they pick a person that completely has no ability to hear them, right? When my spouse, who never understood me, hears me, when my mom, who never cared, hears me, then I'll be heard. And our new shift that is birthing for us is for us to hear the thing that we want other people to hear, and get to a place where you actually hear it enough that it alchemizes. And then the byproduct of that is someone will match how you're seeing you.
Well,
right. And so living that way is so important to me, to be in the now, right? To be here and just follow that. I do have other speakers that when I shifted, I listened to for a while, and they helped me dramatically. Someone mentioned Bashar. I love a speaker as a channel named Bashar.
mm-hmm.
He's phenomenal. It's Daryl Anka channel, someone named Bashar. It's one of my favorites. I'm friends with Michael Beckwith, and when I shifted the first time, I went to Agape, and he helped me so much. My very first shift was from victim to achiever, and Tony Robbins was who I started with. But I went through these stages from victim to achiever, from achiever to vibration, and I'm going in from vibration to now, right? Where
So
you
you
start
will
to,
you will turn into an Eckhart Tolle eventually.
right. I'm a few nows away from Eckhart Tolle. I'm kind of a hybrid of still, I believe very much in now, but still also we're allowed to have the things we want. Like sometimes non-duality is like, so since nothing else matters, you might as well never get healthy, and you might as well. And I'm like, you can also have the things you want, and non-duality is total truth to me too.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Profound, not just made sense, but I think part of your gift is really bringing in some concepts and spiritual woo-woo in a language and in lightness that really resonates. And I feel like, I want to drink more of that Kool-Aid. By the way, KyleSees.com for those of you who are not, the 5 people here that have not joined from Kyle Sees community can register now.
It's like your team.
Like, exactly. The team Guidely is going to be now on the Kyle Sees.
So guys, if you want to be on the absolute,
So I'm curious about the evolving out loud.
Yes.
As maybe evolving in quietly or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, since I started as a comedian, I felt like, I got very good at figuring out what I was feeling by articulating it. And the shift was, what do you call this thing that seems to be constantly ongoing and evolving, that I don't want to be married to a specific way or spiritual belief? That, I mean, I'm evolving out loud. The weird thing is, have you ever given someone advice and then you learn from the advice that you gave them?
Yeah.
Right? Isn't that weird? Like sometimes you give people advice, they're not even asking. They'll be like, I have a stomach ache. And you go, I think you should break up with her. If you, and they're like, I'm single. And you're like, why? And if you've given someone advice and then you learn from the advice that you gave them, doesn't that mean there's two of you? There's a you that somehow is intuitive and knows. And then there's a second you that's like following it. We have this thing that a lot of these people here are on called the Absolutely Everything Pass. My membership site is me literally speaking on Sunday and Wednesday in an ad-libbed way, and literally, and then doing also live hot seats where I'm doing a private one-on-one with people, but in front of everybody. So it's not private, but it's a one-on-one like a private, but they're there and seeing it and bringing all these lessons in. And we are shifting people unbelievably. And there's over 1,000 hours of content on it. And it was weird because in the stand-up world, we'd be like, George Carlin, you know, I hope this doesn't sound egoic because it's not meant to. George Carlin would do like an hour of stand-up a year. And we're starting to realize, this is weird to say, but I'm putting out 5 hours of content a week. And you start to realize that and I only say that because I want you to know you all have that. There is an unbelievable amount of cutting edge truth trying to come through you. And we're so busy trying to be what we think people want that we leave the truth that's coming through. And you have this always available content. And most people don't say the thing that they're actually thinking. They say what they think people want to hear. So an example I've used in the past, if you go on an elevator and you find someone really attractive and you want to say the right thing to them, you come up with this stupid, there sure is weather outside. and they're like, there was weather yesterday too. And now you're starting a conversation in a lie, and this is going to be your wife, right? So instead, what if you're feeling like, I can't think of the right thing to say to the person? You just looked at the person and go, I'm trying to think of something to say to you, right? Like right there, you're actually being authentic and you're open-hearted and you have something collaborative that they can collaborate with you. And so evolving out loud is me just saying the thing that's right here. And more as I do it, I end up doing a talk and then hearing the advice that I need for the week. Literally, I'm just coaching me out loud. And as a byproduct, it seems to come through as great content for the audience too. But if I'm like, what do they need to hear? I'm screwed. If I'm like, what do I need to hear? I literally sit back and this stuff comes through that I have no idea what I'm going to say. And now there's 500 YouTube videos of it. And there's all these talks on our membership site. And, you know, and I just show up and you start. And I'm offering to you guys, if you show up and start and be willing to do it wrong, just be willing to do it wrong for a while and let this thing come through, you're going to be blown away by what starts to come through. And it's so much better than that. How do I do it right? Because I need to have an audience, because I'm under the illusion that I'm not enough without an audience, because I'm under the right. This energy is what a lot of people work from. And it's why those businesses don't usually work, because it's too, I got to get, because I'm under the illusion I'm not enough as is without it. And I'm just doing my thing. And it's as a byproduct, it seems to be working, right? As a byproduct, people are there and it seems to be the best content that I could hear in that moment ever. And it just keeps seeming to come out even clearer as I keep trusting it, right? Does that make sense?
Absolutely. I first of all, are you okay if we do some hot seats tonight?
Sure.
So if people here in the audience want to raise their hand and get a chance to work one-on-one with this incredible beam of light, and this way we can give him something he can coach himself for the rest of the week, and right, I mean, that's going to be the outcome.
Yeah. So this is really big. What we're going to do, like we're like, what is he going to do? Like, we're going to actually notice everything that you want or are working through or trying to figure out. Under it, okay, is the real truth. And what all we do is listen and investigate. And usually it can bring us to some really, really powerful place in ourselves. So I would love to show you guys how the hot seats work. On our Absolutely Everything Pass, we've done 30 out of 100 now. And every one of them was insane. And you get so many lessons for you just watching them, right? And so one of the things I want to offer you, that even if you're not doing the hot seat, watch this and ask yourself, what are the lessons that the universe is trying to throw at me through this hot seat that I didn't know that I needed to know? Because most of us are trying to seek the lessons that we want versus the lessons the universe has for us. So surrender your need to get a specific lesson that you want and see if the universe is trying to show you something that might actually help what your question was, right? So
incredible. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. So Amir, like pick
Yeah,
whoever you
no.
want.
So I would say let's go ahead and start. I see we have quite a few hands up, and I know I want to be respectful of time. So it's time, and I do feel like we have maybe. What do you feel? Do you feel one more, and then you want to do the exercise, or we just do the exercise?
Well, it is 34. Let's do this. Let's do the exercise if that's okay.
Yeah. And we'll have
my people pleasing pattern would have done this till midnight, but I'm like, I have to honor myself and do that in front of you guys so that
that's amazing, and thanks for doing that. And regardless, we're going over our time. I do want to say, for those of you who have questions, we will have an integration session Monday with Chandel. So if you have more questions, come join us. We'll try and do the best to and join Kyle's community so you can get direct access. So,
and Amir, anytime if you want to do this again in the future, like I'm here. I love doing this. You know, I'd come on anytime you want.
Let's do it again.
Yeah, anytime, because this feels like a two-parter. I'll still give this exercise now, but this feels like it just can keep going, and there's so much more. And if people came on more expanded from this talk in the future, we can go more advanced, right?
That'd be awesome. Let's do that. I would love to do that. We have, by the way, Dr. Shefali Tabari, January 20th, I think. So
I love her. She wrote the forward to my money book.
Oh, she did? I didn't know that.
Yeah, my book, The Illusion of Money. She wrote the forward.
She is really awesome. So exercise. I want to be respectful of time, of your time, our incredible people here that stuck with us.
So there's an exercise we do. We do it sometimes on my Absolutely Everything Pass that is truly life-changing. It's so life-changing that I still do it pretty much every day with my team. We literally schedule an hour and do this exercise for an hour a day. And it's a huge part of what's coming through me. It's a huge part of what's changed my life. It's called Glogau, which is basically Kyle Go, right? Yes, we're going to Glogau. And this is crazy life-changing stuff. So this is what happened. This showed up 11 years ago when I was acting. I was on my way to an audition, and I was in my head about my audition. I had been in a slump for a while. So on the way to the audition, I decided to talk about the audition coming up as if it already happened. And I looked at my friend Diego, who's actually the go in Glogau. I looked at him and I said, I remember, dude, when I went into that audition, I'm talking about the audition coming up as if it's past tense, right? So I said, I remember when I went into that audition and I was so good and I was so in the pocket. And my mind just kept creating and going and going and going. And I was like, I was so funny and I was so good and everything like that. And then he joined me. He's like, I remember that, dude. That was the greatest audition of your life. Dude, we're talking about an audition coming up as if it's past tense, right? He was like, you were so good and so in the pocket. And we hear all the time to visualize what we want. But really, when you do that, you don't know if it's coming. So your mind is just analyzing and you're getting more of that. But if you make a vision past tense, your mind stores it as fact because everything in the past is true. So imagine, and so when I went into the audition, I was so good because in my mind, I had just achieved it. So imagine this talk we're doing right now. Imagine that it was a year ago. So now it's December 2023. And Amir, imagine if I was like, Amir, I remember a year ago when I did your talk, that was like the beginning of my life. Like I remember a year ago doing your talk and then continually finishing out this cleanse that I'm on and moving into a higher level of my body, moving into a higher alignment, connecting with my soul so much more, finding total love within myself, and then the match to that, moving to a higher frequency. I remember so much, like just my team just thriving so much. I remember the world totally changed. Like, this sounds like I'm just saying gibberish, but I'm actually creating an intention. And all worrying is doing this exercise, but in the negative, right? Oh my God, it could go bad. It could be this. So your mind needs something to think about. And if you come up with that it was past tense, all the things that you want for yourself, and you allow the creativity to say it, so you're not even egoically putting it together, you just start being like, I remember when I remember a year ago when I started doing that. I started working out more. I booked that TV show, or I let go of that, or I let go of the relationship. But this is so crazy. So Amir, while they're pulling them on, pulling Karen on, Amir, do you want to do it for a second? Like
Yeah, yeah.
tell me about what happened in 2023 that was just so amazing, Amir.
You know, it was so incredible. We were just at that pivoting point where we were testing new customer journeys for Guidely, and all of a sudden people showed up, and we had this event with Kyle Cease, and I did this Kailego, and immediately after that, we as a team started clicking, and we started doing that and adjusting and pivoting our customer journeys, and people just came on and joined us, our community, and our matching services, and people found their right guidance where they are. And I felt so fulfilled and joyful and creative. And everybody on the team said, oh my God, it's so amazing, because we have so many people that comes to us and they're looking for help, and we match them with guides, and here we change lives. And it all started with this, Kailego exercise. And it
I
was,
remember that. And this is me supercharging Amir, right?
yeah.
I remember, Amir, that Guidely became the biggest transformational group in the world in 2023. Right? Do you hear how my mind is putting that? And then the ego literally goes, oh, how do we make that work? Right? Like, I need to, like, instead of us, like, we usually say I had the worst day, and then the mind goes, why? And then we list all these reasons it sucked. But imagine if we're like, do you remember how 2023 you brought 1 million people into Guidely? I remember that, Amir. You had 1 million new people,
Yeah.
or whatever number you want that really excites you. Do you remember that?
Yeah, it's a good start. We'll start with 1 million, and it's incredible.
Yeah. Do you hear how we're putting him to a frequency where it's totally normal that he had 1 million people show up? Like, this is what we want to do, get you on a frequency where it's not weird that you found the love of your life, or it's not weird that you made all that money. If it's exciting that you made a bunch of money, then you're actually saying you're the unworthy person that didn't get it. Do you get what I'm saying? Right? Like, it's not like me to make $1 million. This is crazy. So we're even just changing Amir's vibration to a normalized world. And you hear how watches all the team's minds start like watching how they match that, and how they start seeing, how did we get to 1 million? And you start coming up with new creative ideas and marketing and different things, right?
And not only that, we came to it joyfully and easily in harmony, and collaborating with other partners in that space, and it's just a sense of abundance. So
yes, God, I remember that, Amir. I remember you bringing 1 million people in, and I had 1 million people on the Absolutely Everything Pass, and we had 2 million on a call. This is not airy fairy la la, guys. This is like real stuff. You do this long enough, you're going to start to manifest that life. It starts to get normalized. And so our team does it. That's how much our team invests an hour a day, every day of doing it. And all of a sudden we have more of it. I got to tell you something so weird. We're very used to our videos getting 20 to 40,000 views each one, right? We had one that had been out 11 days. Was it 11 days, Mary? It had been 11 days. We started Glogauing about other stuff, and out of nowhere, the video that had been out 11 days just started skyrocketing on its own. Mary has a chart even of the day we Glogoed. It's the weirdest thing. You watch a chart of the video planing out and being done, and then the day we Glogoed, it started just launching by itself. We didn't do anything. We just, other than Glogoing. And we watched as it just matched this. And I'm telling you, life will match you in the abundant way that you think. And you'll notice as Amir's talking that way, he doesn't have any room to come up with why I hope Guidely doesn't fall apart next year. I hope that you get what I'm saying. It's like, this is you don't have room for the negative thoughts. So it's funny, even though I'm about the now and healing the negative, you could even do the Glogau for that. I remember when I was there for the energy that felt unseen. I remember when I felt unloved. I remember when I felt lost. I remember when Larry just realized how powerful he was even more, and all the things he did was so awesome. And I remember 2023 was his year. It was amazing. I remember every person on this call accessing a higher level of themselves. And no matter what happened circumstantially in 2023, they were connected to themselves. It was so awesome. So usually on a bigger call, I would break you into groups and have you do that with a partner. And I'm telling you, when you do it, we have so many stories of people out of nowhere Glegoing something, and then it completely we have thousands of stories of people telling us like, I did this thing and I said this and then it happened. Right. So, it's really, really awesome.
So profound, so
Yeah.
profound. Setting emotional intentions and really join. It's like a visual vision board, right? I mean, creating that vision board, but in a very articulate and a very powerful way. It's really profound. I love it.
Yes. Yes.
I'm
So
gonna do Lego for sure.
yes, it's one thing to understand it. It's another thing to do it. I just showed you the treadmill. We all got to actually get on it and, not know what we're doing for a minute, and it'll change your life.
Well, that's why it's a two-part.
Right. Well, let's do
Right?
more.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, before you know it, right? I mean, Devin's here. Yeah. Let's do another one.
I would
That's
be
awesome.
honored. I mean, you feel like family. It feels like a really good group of people, and I'm thankful I get to do this with you guys.
You definitely feel family. I want to thank everybody here on this call. I want to thank you, Kyle, for showing up in this magic and inviting your people. Welcome to all the AEP and the what's the other acronym? You have two acronyms, right?
Well, the AEP is the Absolutely Everything Pass. That's our membership site. Again, if you want to do a whole year, it's $299 right now. It'll be
Mary, drop.
$799 again in the future.
Can you
Mary's
drop?
putting the link
Yeah,
there. And then
awesome.
the other thing is I have a live event. It'll be in Sedona. What is it, March 7 and 8, Mary? Or 10 and 11, I forget. 10 and 11 and 12. I don't know when my giant event is, but it'll be in Sedona, and all the money goes to Operation Underground Railroad. So it's a win-win-win. You joining, your donation is literally free. The event's called Freeing All Children Inside and Out. And it's going to be so sacred and so special. Please grab a ticket. It's going to be funny. It's going to be fun. And you're going to love it. If you like this call, wait till you spend 2 days with me. We're gonna party and have a blast, but you're gonna come out of it free, and you're gonna Glogau with people too and do all kinds of stuff. And it's your edge. So I dare you to join us at that. Please do.
I'll be there.
Hell yeah, Amir.
Yeah, I'll be there.
Please be there.
That's awesome. So thank you so much. Thank you for those of you who joined us today. If we can put a slide with the integration session, I think we have or if you want to be matched with the guide, we have that too. Everybody, if you want to unmute yourself, we have the integration session on Monday, right? This Monday, and it's with Chandel. She was here with us today.
Let me share the screen real fast, just so everyone can have the QR code to join the community, and so that they know what time the integration session is on Monday.
Thank you, Chandel, for putting me in, getting it right.
Yes. And then if you'd like to book a session with myself, or I can connect you to another guide, you can text Let Go to 888-506-6432, and we can set you up with that. And then hopefully we'll see everyone on Monday, and then I will unmute all, and everyone can say goodbye.